the ballasting work is coming along rather nicely on this layout now. We've used a few different kinds of ballast. This is actually a very coarse sand, which will be heavily weathered down around the fueling point. And this side of the fueling point has the pit. This lead up to the fueling point has the mixture of normal Woodland Scenics ballast mixed with the coarse sand. And then around the layout we've used the Woodland Scenics ballast, which will be weathered to different levels. So for example, the two tracks here, we've just got a nice bit of ballast in the 6 foot. And then further over here we have got the bullhead rail. This is going to be a bit more or less used kind of run around loop. We've got bullhead rail in it, which is much finer scale, which looks absolutely stunning, and has been ballasted again with the Woodland Scenics ballast. Points are in their final stages of just making 100% sure they're all good to go, and then we will ballast those as well. They all work, we just have been testing them rigorously to make sure that they do not stop working. Let's take a look underneath. Underneath, the layout looks overly complicated, but it actually isn't. The point motors are cobalt analog point motors. They are controlled using the DCC system, but via control boards which are housed in these boxes here. The thick black wire that's going around, this one here, is a loco net, which leads to a control panel either side. There's one on the front and one on the back, which allows us to plug the Digitrax controller in or operate the layout wirelessly. What is also up here as well, what we have wiring for, is block detection, which are controlled by a set of boxes on this side here. So the block detection, obviously pretty self-explanatory what it's for, detecting locos, but it's going to feed into eventually a Raspberry Pi which is hiding in one of these boxes down here, which will be linked to a little touchscreen, and we'll be able to not only control the trains from this touchscreen, but also control and see which train is where, which will lead one day potentially to automation. And it's all the rest of the point motors under there as well. But so far so good. It's a very sweet little layout. It is going to come together very nicely. We've got quite an interesting bit of track work here. If you can see that past my cup of tea and all the other rubbish. A board has already been built. It's just hiding down there behind the car's carpet, which will be sort of like the lead on, like the off-scene sort of part of the layout. In this area here there will be a platform. You see there's one side of it there, the other side of it, and a storage loop there. And the fueling depot, bit of a head shunt as well, which will give us access to the runaround loop, and a couple of sidings at the back to dump locomotives in which are not in use or just stored unserviceable. The layout is entirely in either Code 75 track, Pico, or the bullhead rail.